Hello, my name is Simon Miller, and welcome to the Center for Political Innovation Morning Update. I have quite a lot of quotes to read to you guys, so I don't want to waste any more time, but we're going to be bringing in some revolutionary optimism today, hopefully. We're going to start today with a situation that might be familiar to us living here in the United States. That is, we are city builders. It talks in 1.1.3, Vandals bring on the Dark Ages, about the fall of the Roman Empire. The demise of the Roman Empire, marked by the stabbing of its greatest advocate and creation, Julius Caesar, obviously, was a historical turning point that paved the way for the empire's eventual decline. After the eventual fall of Rome came the Dark Ages and huge setbacks for civilization in Europe. What you might find is that the assassination of Julius Caesar is similar to assassinations of populist leaders here in the United States, and that fall of Rome led to the Dark Ages not because it was the fall of Rome, not because Rome was great, but actually because of the opposite, because the trend that came to destroy it was the Vandals, who, in their orgy of destruction, barbarian tribes made a point of burning books and records and attempted to erase scientific progress. The antidote to the Roman Empire's barbarism was not more barbarism, it was not destruction, it was not vandalism. See, because 1100 years later, after centuries of feudalism and serfdom, it was a change in political theory sparked by changes in the economy that paved the way for something better. The Renaissance was not a random occurrence. In Italy, Britain, and Bavaria, and other parts of Europe, the dawn of the Silk Road from Asia and travelers' observations of other civilizations in the Middle East and China and elsewhere inspired a strand of progressive thinking. This goes on to talk about the repression that those who were in that progressive trend faced. People like Socrates, even going back thousands of years, who faced repression for seeking truth, for seeking knowledge, and for wanting to build something rather than just destroy. And although that may leave one in a pessimistic mindset, that's not the end of it. See, we are members of the Center for Political Innovation, and you too can also soon be a member. And we have to listen to Eugene Debs, 1918, quote from the beginning of this book right here, The Ideological Foundations of the City Building Tendency. Eugene Debs says, "The sun of capitalism is setting, the sun of socialism is rising. It is our duty to build the new nation and the free republic. We socialists are the builders of the beautiful world that is to be." And what that means for me is that even living in the heart of the Roman Empire, even living in the heart of the beast, in the belly of the beast, I know that's the term people often use, there is still hope for the city building tendency, for the trend that seeks knowledge, for the trend that cuts through this destructive, rhetorical nonsense. That's what distinguishes the Center for Political Innovation from the Vandals, from the synthetic left. A final quote comes from Socrates, mentioned in the book as one of those men who was repressed for his pursuit of knowledge. And in Plato's Gorgias, Socrates is speaking with Gorgias and Polus and several other sophists or rhetoricians. And after Gorgias explains that rhetoric is essentially the art of persuasion with regards to what is lawful and what is unlawful, or what is good and what is bad, Socrates says, "And the same holds of the relation of rhetoric to all other arts. The rhetorician need not know the truth about things. He has only to discover some way of persuading the ignorant that he is more knowledgeable than those who know. Whether he is or is not as ignorant of the just and unjust, base and honorable, good and evil, as he is of medicine and the other arts, I mean to say, does he really know anything of what is good and evil, base or honorable, just or unjust in them? Or has he only a way with the ignorant of persuading them that he not knowing is to be esteemed to know more about these things than someone else who knows?" Then Someone chimes in named Polus, and he says, I will ask you, and do you answer me, Socrates, the same question with which Gorgias, as you suppose, is unable to answer. What is rhetoric? So he's saying rhetoric doesn't actually know anything, it just convinces people that they know something. But Polus is saying, okay, what is it then? Okay, if it's not something actively that knows something, what is it? Socrates says, do you mean what sort of an art it is? And Polus says, yes. Socrates says, to say the truth, Polus, it is not an art at all, in my opinion, but an exercise in producing a sort of delight and gratification. He sort of likens it to cooking, but he says that they are different parts of the same profession. And Gorgias now chimes in and he says, what profession? What are they both parts of? Cooking and rhetoric. Socrates responds, the whole of which rhetoric is a part is not an art at all, but the habit of bold and ready wit, which knows how to manage mankind. This habit I sum up under the word flattery. He continues after a long paragraph explaining sort of the ins and outs of the argument, really going down to the logical roots. And he says, a flattery I deem this to be, and of an ignoble sort, because it aims at pleasure without any thought of the best. An art I do not call it, but only an experience, because it is unable to explain or give reason of the nature of its own applications. And that's what I want to leave you with. Rhetoric, destruction, the Vandals, the synthetic left, they are unable to explain or give a reason of the nature of their application. They don't understand anything. They just manipulate people into believing that they do. They are sophists. They are rhetoricians. They are destroyers and vandals. And they are the opposite of what CPI represents. The Center for Political Innovation, it understands these things. It wants to build. It wants to pursue knowledge to know. And it wants to apply those things to the world in a way that builds rather than destroys. That is a tendency, goes back thousands of years, and it's a beautiful one. It fills me with optimism. I'm Simon Miller, and this was the CPI Morning Message.